People, deluded, I'm back again. Now, I'm not going to say anything new that hasn't been discovered. There's nothing new under the sun. Flo Balogun, now, if you're an Arsenal fan or like you football, you know who he is. He's a young player. In a similar way to Eddie Nketiah, he lives and breathes goals. He knows how to score. He's 17 years of age. He plays international football. He seems to be alternating between England and America. And I like him. I mean, if you've been paying attention to Arsenal, you've known literally from last year and when he was a kid, essentially, under 16, that this man knows how to score goals. He lives and breathes goals. Me, personally, I like how he can score all sorts of goals. I've seen him score instinctive finishes, good link-up play, headers, good strikes, creating his own goals. He's a good player. He comes alive, man. I think his link-up play is very good, and it's another good component to have on top of, obviously, being a striker and knowing how to score goals. I think he's gone up a level this season from what I've been looking at under 18 so far. Like I said, he's a good player, but what's impressed me a bit more, he seems, I wouldn't say he wants it a bit more, but because I can't really say it in any other way, I say he wants it a bit more. His general play was good, but for me, he seems to be forcing the issue a bit more. He seems to if he wants to score, get the ball, and he'll drive at defences and link up with his team. You look at the goal against Spurs, where he assisted, and you look at the link-up play with him and Greenwood, another one who I think is very good and reminds me a tiny bit of Van Persie. I'm not saying he's going to be that, but you get the point. Balogun lives and breathes goals, and for me, he's gone up a level. And if I'm Unai Emery, I know it's early, but I'm looking at it. I'm looking at him. Got his statistics here. He's hit 11 goals in 9 games already this season for the under-18s. The next step is for him to step up to the under-23s because he turns 18 next year. You want to step up. You don't really want to play there too many times. Obviously, for as good as I'm saying he is and for his talent, you've got Eddie, who's a good striker in his own right. Tyrese John Jules, who I've got a lot of time for and I love the guy, and I hope he makes his first team debut this year. Them two are ahead of him. Then obviously you've got all the other options. So there's a lot of competition. So he's had to be patient. So under 23s, he's on the bench. He was on the bench against Cheltenham, and he's been on the bench 3 times for the under 23s in the Premier League two. But yeah, he's done well, man. I think he's gonna be a striker when he progresses, but he can play on either flank or be situated out there. A lot of people are saying he's a younger Eddie Nketiah, and you could say that to a degree, but I think that's disrespectful because I think he's good in his own right. He's completely different from Eddie. I think he's a little less humble than Eddie, in my opinion. Eddie's a bit more cute in a sense of his movement. His movement's good, but I think he's slightly more likely to come to the ball and drop deep than Eddie does. Eddie looks to make them good runs and work the channels a bit and things like that. They're very different, but yet very similar, and I like them both. He's 17, and there's a lot of people ahead of him. So I must admit, if I was him, depending on how this season goes and what my agent's saying, I can't lie, I'd probably consider leaving Arsenal, to be honest, and seeing where there's a better pathway. Because I believe in him. I do believe the club believe in him, and I do think there is a pathway. But if there was a clearer pathway somewhere, I'd probably be listening to what they have to say, if I'm completely honest with you. Like I said, he's hit 11 goals, and I think he's gone up a level. Maybe it's too early to get involved at first team level, but Saka made his debut. I know Saka's a special talent, but it can be done. If my internet will allow me, because it seems to want to act up people, I would show you his stats from last season, but it doesn't want to let me. But I'm sure he must have had similar stats, and if he hasn't, just the mere fact that he's hit 11 goals already, people, in 9 games and 1 assist a match can improve in that. That assist come against Spurs. I was watching that game, so it has to have come against them. But yeah, I mean, he's doing what he can. All you can do is hit goals and wait for your chance. So probably the next step between now and the end of the season is stepping up to the under-23s, possibly full-time. And if not, just giving Lundberg and them coaches a headache and thinking, okay, Tyrese is there. He's been playing well, but we've got young Balogun. We've got Eddie. Eddie seems to be in the first team now, but he needs to get games at 23 levels. So who do we play? That's what all of them need to do. I would love to off topic. I know this is about Balogun, but I'd love for Tyrese to make his debut this year as well, man. I believe all of these players. I do believe within the last 2 to 3 years, the scholars and people that have been brought here, whether they're going to make it at Arsenal or not, they're going to have good careers. Now, not every player can make it at the first team level, but I do think a lot of them have a good chance. You look at Amici, you look at John Jules, you look at Saka, you look at Gilmore, you look at even Ballard, you look at, there's several. I'm trying not to say the most heavily talked about talents at our club, but you get it in it. There's so many players, and it's wishful thinking. I would love for 11 players to go up to first team level. I'd love that. I'm a youth enthusiast, but it's not going to happen. It's rich. The very statistics suggest probably it'll be lucky if 1, maybe 2 make it, but I think all will have good careers, man. So yeah, to score 11 goals in 9 games at under 18s Premier League level, and to hit in total in 10 games, including one in the AFL, 10 games, 11 goals, 1 assist. So he's basically contributed to 11 goals in 11 games. That's all you can do, and that's red hot form from the man. My internet is it's not even the internet, it's the browser. The browser's frozen, so I can't show you statistics from last season. But yeah, man, just type his name in and go on Transfermarkt or whatever the website's called, and they'll roll that one up for you. Apologies, people, for not being able to do that. But yeah, people, DG, I'm going to get out of your hair now, man. Shout out to Balogun. I'm out.